Lord Patron of Yusnan. If anyone's supposed to protect the people, it's him. But instead, he's hiding away in that palace, presiding over endless banquets. It doesn't look like he's doing a thing to stop the chaos.
They're conducting a search
Is
for
that
the
right?
intruder calling herself the
Yes.
Savior.
Come enjoy
She has
the healthy
rose-colored
fruits
hair
of
and
the
is
earth.
carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest
Even kids
security
who hate
officer.
greens love my veggie dishes. Vitamins in vegetables are determined by their color. You want a wide variety for a well-balanced diet.
You're gonna be a real food connoisseur by the time this is over. You just have 3 more restaurants left to visit.
Welcome! How can I be of help? From the elegant simplicity of straight spirits on the rocks to complex and fruity concoctions with little umbrellas, we serve all kinds of drinks. Cocktails can be served, chilled or warm, shaken or stirred. Everyone has their own preferences. We encourage customers to consult with our staff to create the perfect cocktail to accompany their evening.
2 more places, Light, and you'll have managed to sample all the popular restaurants of the Glutton's Quarter.
Step right up. Get the best meat and kebabs in Yusnan. Our meat is shipped directly from the wildlands. We use only natural ingredients, none of that synthetic stuff. Grilling and roasting are the best. The key is knowing how to seal in the juices and flavors. And we do that better than anyone else.
Almost there, Light. You have 1 more restaurant.
Every one of our fish is fresh caught and delicious. We get our seafood fresh every morning. Comes straight out of the ocean. Tastes great raw or grilled. A chef is even more important when preparing uncooked dishes. The way you slice a tuna makes all the difference in the world.
Well, you visited all the best restaurants. What do you say, Light?
Palace guards are
Do you
conducting
feel like
a
you've
search
learned
for
all
the
there is to
intruder
know?
calling herself
Listening
the
to scraps
Savior.
of advice from
She has
chefs won't make me an
rose-colored
expert.
hair and is carrying an
Besides,
enormous weapon.
most of what they told me was common
Citizens are
sense, and they
asked to
didn't tell me
report
anything I
persons
hadn't heard
matching this
before.
description to the nearest
Maybe you should go back and talk.
Well, how goes the culinary tour?
I did what you suggested. I visited the top restaurants in the neighborhood.
That is excellent news. So now let me give you the advice I promised. If Seedy's restaurant wants to turn its business around... wait, let me ask you something first. You've eaten at Seedy's and at the best establishments in Yusnan. Why don't you tell me what you think is the main difference between the two? I'd be interested to hear your opinion. In your own words, of course.
Why? Is this some kind of test?
Yes, exactly. Now tell me, what did all the successful restaurants have in common that poor old Seedy's lacks?
Let me see. Everyone I spoke to was helpful. They seemed honest and open. I don't think they were lying to me, but something seemed off.
Oh, would you care to elaborate?
Well, it almost felt like they were hiding something from the customers. But it wasn't as if they were deliberately lying or trying to deceive anyone. In fact, I don't think they realized it themselves. They thought they were telling me everything they knew. Yes, that's it. It was unconscious, like an instinct. They were hiding something, but they weren't doing it deliberately at all. I'd say the very best chefs, restaurant managers, and bartenders all share some kind of secret. It's like a special ingredient that makes their food stand out from the others.
What a wonderful deduction. You have hit the nail on the head. To think you discovered this answer only after visiting a few establishments. It is as you say, the best, most successful restaurants have a certain je ne sais quoi, a secret something that makes their offerings unique. And finding that something, that is what I do best. In other words, if the restaurant does not already have a special something, then I simply cannot help it.
Then what about Seedy's? Do you think you can help him?
I can tell you this, the chef there already knows his secret. The talent is there to make that restaurant a success. Unfortunately for him, the secret spice that gives his dishes flair is extremely rare. He cannot secure supplies, and that is why he struggles. Let me be specific. Once upon a time, Seedy's recipes all featured the spice commonly known as civet musk. But then supplies dried up and the restaurant fell into a long decline.
You seem to know a lot about Seedy's.
Well, a long time ago, let's just say we have a close history and leave it at that.
Fine by me. All I need to know is that if I can find this spice, the restaurant should start bringing in customers.
Yes, exactly. The problem is the spice is not easy to find. In fact, the only way to acquire it would be to defeat certain monsters. Such a shame. All for want of a single spice his restaurant is failing. He has the recipe for success. He just needs the final ingredient.
So it turns out this civet musk is a precious commodity. Why don't you let Gordon Gourmet know you have some? He can tell you what to do next.
Palace guards are conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security post.
Civet musk. Well, now that you mention it, I did use it in my dishes once upon a time. I knew the spice gave my dishes an extra kick, but I had no idea that it was the key to my success or failure. Gordon Gourmet is as good as they say. I can't wait to hear more of his advice. Although it's not gonna be civet musk. Well, now that you mention it,
Palace guards are
Remember,
conducting
the tour
a
meets
search
up in
for
front of the
intruder
gate of the
calling
industrial
herself
area in the
Savior.
lower city.
She has rose-colored hair.
You'll have to be there at 6 p.m. Make sure you're not late, or they'll leave without you.
This is the famous penguin.
Ha! I'd recognize that fragrance anywhere. You found civet musk. Thank you indeed. It's very kind what you're doing. Seedy's is lucky to have you on its side.
Why are you thanking me? If anyone should be grateful, it's me, and the owner of CDs for all of your helpful advice.
Oh, quite so. When you put it that way, of course you're right. I just get caught up in a project and start thinking it's my own restaurant I'm saving. But back to business. Here, I developed this new and original recipe. I want you to take it back to Seedy's together with the civet musk you acquired. The owner will be waiting anxiously for you.
So, you still don't want to meet him yourself?
I'm afraid that won't happen. Not ever again. However, that doesn't stop me from wishing him and Seedy's the very best. Please tell him that whatever happens, I'll be praying for his success.
Lightning, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Do you remember what the owner of
Palace
CDs
guards are
told us
conducting
when
a
we
search
met?
for the
You
intruder
mean the
calling
story about his
herself
son
the
that ran away
Savior.
from home
She
when the
has
restaurant
rose-colored
started
hair
struggling?
and is carrying
Great
an
minds
enormous
hope.
weapon.
We've both been thinking that
Citizens
maybe
are
this
asked
son
to
of his
report
went on to
persons
become a
matching
famous
this
food
description
expert.
to the nearest security
And that's why Gordon won't meet CD's owner. But he's...
Gordon Gourmet created a new recipe for you. You should make it with this civet musk. Do that and you'll be able to save your restaurant. At least, that's what he said.
Why, thank you! This is wonderful! How can I ever repay you? This is incredible! Everything is here in black and white! A groundbreaking dish! I'd never have thought to do half the things in this recipe. The genius of Gordon Gourmet oozes from every word.
Notice anything else?
About the recipe? No, not particularly. It's well organized, written in a clear hand. Wait. This handwriting, it looks strangely familiar. Yes, I've seen it before. These swirls, these bold loops. Could it be?
I think so. It turns out Gordon Gourmet has a secret identity. He's your long-lost son.
He is? And you're sure it was him who created this wonderful recipe? But more importantly, he's in this town. Is he happy?
You have nothing to worry about. He's doing great. Except, I'm really sorry, but I don't think he wants to see you again. I can't tell you where he is.
But why? Yes, we quarreled when he left, but that was a long time ago. Is he still angry at me?
Do you have a message for him? I can make sure he gets it.
Well, how about this? I'm gonna make his dish just like the recipe lays out. Would you be so good as to deliver it to him? At the very least, I want him to try it. Truth be told, what I really want to tell him is to come back to CD's and work with me. Perhaps if he knew that I still haven't lost my touch. Would that be enough to entice him back? I don't know.
I don't think words alone will do it, but if he tries your dish and likes it, that might be enough for him.
And there it is, finished at last. Here, please, I want you to be the first to taste it.
All right. I'm feeling hungry anyway. This might be the most delicious thing I've ever had in my entire life. Really, it's incredible.
Why, thank you. Although all the credit must go to my son, it was his doing. Here, I've made enough for one more. I've asked you for many favors, but would you do this last thing for me?
Sure. I'll take it to Gordon Gourmet.
Palace guards are conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security.
Oh, do I smell what I think I smell? I do, don't I? That must be my recipe.
Yes, the owner at Seedy's insisted that I bring you a portion so you could taste it for yourself.
I see. Well, then... Oh, yes. A perfect balance of fuzzy mutton and civet musk. The palate sings. It's a microcosm of culinary delight. A theme park of olfactory and gustatory attractions. And if you think that's hyperbole, I've only just begun. This is even better than I imagined. I always knew he was a skilled chef, but this...
So, why don't you go back there and help him out again in the kitchen?
Go back? What do you mean? I've never... Oh, all right. Oh, the cat's out of the bag. You've somehow figured it out. What my true identity is. Yes, I admit it. I am indeed the son of the owner of Seedy's restaurant. It was a long time ago, but one day we quarreled, and I left the shop vowing never to return. We fought over cooking, you see. But even after I left, I vowed that one day I would rebuild the restaurant. That's what started me on my journey to becoming Gordon Gourmet. Since then, I devoted every waking hour to learning about the culinary arts. After many years of study, I finally had an epiphany. I realized what Seedy's restaurant needed to regain its former glory.
You had a falling out because of the menu? But when your father saw your recipe, he was thrilled. All he could talk about was how he dreamed of you coming back, so the two of you could run the restaurant together, just like old times.
So he recognizes my ability. Oh, but it's too late. I can't go back now. The fact is, I abandoned him in the restaurant when times were tough. I'm ashamed of what I did. I can't face him again.
You mustn't feel that way, my son.
Father, how did you find me?
My apologies to the young lady, but I wanted to see you. I followed her after she left the shop. What do you say? Let's start over. You set out on your own, did things your own way, stayed true to yourself, working hard to achieve your dreams. And now look what you can do. The recipe that you created was amazing. I've never seen the likes of it before. What can I say except that I am proud of you?
But Father, I left you.
Not in my wildest dreams could I have conceived of such a dish. Indeed, if you had given it to me back then, I doubt I would have recognized its greatness. But worse, I wouldn't have believed you could be capable of such a thing. I always underestimated you, my son. For that, you have my sincere apologies.
It's all right. And for what it's worth, I'm sorry for abandoning you and the restaurant when you were struggling to keep it going.
Looks like you two have made up.
Yes.
Now let's get to it, shall we? Together. We'll make Seedy's a success again!
That went well. A microcosm of culinary delight, did he say? That sounds rather tasty to me. Was it as good as he said?
Want me to pick you up some takeout?
You know what I'd prefer over that? If sometime you made me one of your
Palace guards
specialty
are
dishes.
conducting a search for the
I haven't
intruder
spent
calling
much time in
herself the
kitchens,
Savior.
but if you want
She
something
has
off a
rose-colored
campfire grill,
hair
maybe
and
I could
carrying
rustle
an
something up.
enormous weapon.
I was never as good a cook as Sarah, but I have been told that I grill a pretty mean behemoth steak.
When the chaos gets thick, it's time to have...
Palace guards are conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security officer.
security guards.
They're conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security officer. Calling
There's a
herself
supply
the
rail that
Savior.
runs through the
She
area.
has rose-colored
That'll be
hair
a
and
means to
is
sneak in.
carrying an enormous weapon.
Everyone who signed up for the tour to see the show is
report persons matching the description to the
Can you
nearest
play that
area.
again for me?
The Recreation
Oh,
and Leisure
hey,
Committee
your
would
name
like to
isn't
welcome
Lightning, is
all
it?
new
And
visitors
just
to
how
the
did you
city.
know that?
The
Oh,
banquet of
well,
the Lord
the
in
girl
the
in
Glen
black told
Quarter
me.
is now
She
open
said that if I
and
played this
serving
song,
brunch.
a lady called
Be sure
Lightning
to
would
drop
show
by
up.
and enjoy the
Lumina.
spectacular views
That's
and
it,
some of the
Lumina.
best food in the
She's
city.
the one who showed me how to play the song. So, do you know it?
Sure, I've heard it before. So why don't you play me the rest of it now? What's so funny?
That's exactly what Lumina said you'd say. She said that if I played the first bit, you'd come over to talk to me, and then you'd be sure to ask me to play the rest.
I'm guessing now I have to do something to hear the rest, right?
Yep. Lumina said if you want to hear the whole song, you're gonna have to find the musical treasure spheres. I've got a key that's supposed to open them all.
I'll play Lumina's little game, but not for my own benefit. Maybe if Snow hears that song down here in the streets, it'll give him some smidgen of hope.
Huh? Wait a sec. Are you saying this song has something to do with the patron? What?
I can't say, but I'll tell you what. You play me the whole song, and maybe I'll tell you.
All right, it's a deal. But you still have to do what I asked for first. Here's the key to the boxes. You have to find all of them. When you're done, come back and talk to me.
Would like to welcome all new
We've got
visitors
the
to the
finest
city.
Come back
The
soon.
banquet of the Lord in the Glutton Quarter is now open and serving brunch.
Got this.
Be sure to drop by and enjoy the spectacular views and some of the best. They're conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security officer.
The Champions Quarter, where blood flows and the crowds roar.
Palace guards are conducting
Here,
a
man and
search
monster
for the
bet their
intruder
lives to
calling
entertain the
herself
masses.
Savior. She has
A bit of
rose-colored
violence
hair and
and
is
aggression.
carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens
lately,
are
it's
asked
only
to
been getting
report
worse.
persons matching this
Seems
description
there have been
to the
more and more
nearest
deaths.
security officer.
I'm sitting here till...
You look like you have some fight in you. Did you sign up?
Palace guards are conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an
Gordon
enormous
Gourmet
weapon.
started cooking his own.
Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security. search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security officer.
I wonder if any places.
Palace guards are conducting a search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description to the nearest security officer.
The gate that leads to the industrial area opens at
Palace guards
6.
are
If
conducting
you
a
miss that
search for the
opportunity,
intruder calling
Excuse
herself
me there,
the
young
Savior.
lady.
She has
May I ask
rose-colored
you
hair
somewhat of
and
a
is
strange
carrying an
question?
enormous weapon.
Have you had anything stolen
Citizens are asked
by a
to report
pickpocket, for
persons
example?
matching this
Yeah,
description to
just
the
like a
nearest
damn
security
tourist.
officer.
It was a kid, and he knew what he was doing.
A young boy, was it? Then he's still up to his old tricks. I know the lad, and his is a sorry tale. I'm not likely to hear a sadder one in all of Yusnan. If I compensated you, would you be so good as to forget this happened?
You're sure it was this kid?
Yes, it could be none other than the orphan boy Pickett.
Then maybe he should be punished. He needs to learn that stealing is wrong.
You see, the poor boy has lost both of his parents. Have you no sympathy at all?
I've got plenty. He's not the first person in this world to lose someone they love.
Have you lost family too?
Maybe.
You have, haven't you? I can tell. Then you can help the boy. Someone like you will be able to reach out to him. I need you to give him this letter. It's from his father, who gave it to me for safekeeping. It's the only thing he left his son.
I'll do it. But I don't see why you can't give it to him yourself. How did you know his father anyway?
We were both hunters who tracked ferocious monsters. But then Pickett's father was killed, and his death was my fault. And so, he refuses to accept the letter from my hands. Please, won't you give Pickett the letter from his father? It may help him end his criminal ways and get his life back on track.
Intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon.
Not again.
Come and get it.
A search for the intruder calling herself the Savior. She has rose-colored hair and is carrying an enormous weapon. Citizens are asked to report persons matching this description
I've
to
got the music
nearest
for you.
security
Now play me
officer.
the song.
Hey, thanks, Lightning. Okay, here goes.
You always loved this song. I remember when you told me what it was about. That you had to believe in tomorrow, no matter how bleak the future seemed to be. Keeping hope alive gave you the strength to make tomorrow a better place. I can see you now like it was yesterday, humming the song softly to yourself. Tell me, Sarah, can you hear it now? Are you somewhere close watching me remember you?
That's some story. So, the patron was her fiancé, and this was one of her favorite songs? And it must mean a lot to him. It would bring back a lot of memories. By the way, what's the song called?
It's called Miracles. You want to do me a favor? Keep playing it as often as you can. Maybe he'll be able to hear it. It'll do him good.
Sure, no problem. I doubt he can hear me down here, but I won't stop playing it, just in case. Miracles do happen sometimes, right?
Maybe that music has made me overly sentimental, but I think his music will help some of the people in this town. It's a perfect...
Oh.